Bihar is one election where the opposition thinks it has a chance. And of course, therefore, it is going to be watched keenly. Does this upset the momentum for the BJP, and does it then augur for the elections coming next year? Or does the BJP sort of continue with its juggernaut-like progress?
Former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan speaking to us earlier about the election in Bihar. The referendum in India's poorest state takes center stage in our India-focused segment this week. Millions took part in the first phase of voting on Thursday in a contest seen as a barometer of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's popularity after a tumultuous year in office. Modi's BJP rules Bihar in coalition with regional parties, and it's looking to retain its power in a 243-member legislature. For more on this, Bloomberg's Maneka Doshi joins us now from Mumbai. And Maneka, put this in perspective for us, right? Why should the world be paying attention to this election?
Well, morning, Has. Bihar is India's most populous state. It's in the northeast part of India, and it has over 100 million people, almost the size of, say, Vietnam. It is unfortunately also India's most poorest state by per capita GDP and amongst the most illiterate states in India. So if India wants to become a developed nation, and if that's the core goal over the next few decades, then raising incomes nationally, most importantly in states like Bihar, becomes critical to that task. Now, politically, Bihar sends 40 members of parliament to parliament. That's to the central government. So that's an important number and a significant influence the state has. A majority of those in last year's general election were won by BJP and its alliance partner. And that combination is in power at the state level as well, as you mentioned. So they want to maintain that strength, and they want to maintain it enough to offer over $1 billion in freebies ahead of this election to woo women and young voters. This is a three-cornered contest, or maybe I should say a 2.5-cornered contest. So like you pointed out, you've got the BJP and its alliance partner, which is a very strong regional party called the JDU, the leader of which has been the chief minister of Bihar for almost 2 decades or more. And then on the other side, you've got another strong regional party called the RJD, supported by the Congress in alliance. And then there is a third new player, Prashant Kishore, who used to be a political strategist, who's now thrown his hat into the political ring, and his party is expected to take away votes from both sides and potentially play kingmaker.
Maneka, great stuff. Stick around, please. Joining us now are Michael Kugelman, non-resident senior fellow at the Asia Pacific Foundation. He's an expert specializing in South Asia and its relations with the U.S. We also have Amitabh Tiwari, founder, partner of Ascendia Strategies and VoteVibe. Amitabh is a political strategist and policy advisor. Amitabh, let's start with you. We know Maneka has laid out the foundation saying that, it is a significant election for Prime Minister Modi. I mean, how much is at stake when it comes to maintaining power at the federal level?
No, essentially, if the BJP is able to win Bihar because of a series of victories in Maharashtra, Delhi and Haryana, it can press home the narrative that the setback in 2024 general elections were largely an aberration. So it could help NDA and the BJP to erase some of those losses from people's memory if they do better. If they do not, then it could put the pressure back on Prime Minister Modi and give a momentum to the opposition led by leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, who, according to many surveys, is closing the gap with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the popularity ratings. In fact, the popularity ratings or the gap between Modi and Rahul is now fallen to just 9% as per a C voter survey.
Amitabh, hi, this is Menaka here in the Mumbai studio. That gap may be narrowing between Modi and Gandhi, but when it comes to the state level, do you see the Congress alliance, and the Congress is the junior partner in the alliance, making significant headway? What do you think are the critical factors at play? Because when I read your surveys, I don't see Rahul Gandhi's voter list manipulation issues dominate amongst Bihar's voting issues.
Yeah, essentially the bread and butter issues dominate, which is unemployment, migration, poverty, price rise, and corruption. These are the 5 top issues in Bihar. Somehow the voter adhikar yatra or the voter manipulation charges is not resonating with the opposition voters, as in the voters of the NDA and the floating voters, is largely resonating with the core vote bloc of the Congress and its allies, which means that it may not have significant electoral impact, because for that you need to win the support of NDA or BJP and voters from other parties. See, the performance of the Congress is likely to decide the fate of this election, because it is fighting on around 61 seats. On 9 seats there are friendly fights, and on 50 of these 61 seats it is pitted against stronger players, you can say, in the Bihar Premier League, which is the JDU and the BJP. So the performance of the Congress party will decide the fate of the India bloc in Bihar. And if for any matter it is not able to perform well, or its strike rate is just like in 2020, then question marks would arise about the fact that the Congress perhaps is the weak link amongst the regional parties, and also there could be a question mark, or there could be voices as to who should lead the India bloc, whether it should be the Congress party or whether it should leave it to the regional parties to do the slogging with the BJP.
Michael, let's get you in this conversation. This election is happening at a time that is pretty fragile for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We have concerns about the election. We have US-India trade negotiations also front and center. How might this be, playing out in terms of the psyche of the voters?
Well, you're right. It is an important moment. And for Modi in particular, I'd argue that he's still trying to shake the criticism that he's become vulnerable to the anti-incumbency factor, someone who served multiple terms and indeed did not perform as well as many had expected in the general elections last year. And in that sense, this is an opportunity to show that his party is still strong. And the BJP has won a number of state elections since those general elections last year. But, the Bihar election comes in the midst of a very busy state election cycle in India. After the Bihar election, there's going to be several other key elections for the BJP, including one in West Bengal, which is the 4th most populous state in India, Bihar being number 3. So I think that for Modi and the BJP, this is an opportunity to show that he and his party can maintain momentum from the last few months, and that would be good. That would be strong to take the party and the leader and Modi into these next cycle of elections in the coming months. But yes, there's a lot going on in India and geopolitically that has certainly put some pressure on Modi, though I would argue that, when it comes to the trade talks with the U.S. and the 50% tariffs that, have certainly raised economic concerns for India, I would argue that Modi has not necessarily lost popularity for that. I think that many in India actually applaud how the Indian negotiating team refused to give in and make the concessions that the U.S. side wanted it to make. I think that was appreciated as showing strength, particularly given that a number of other countries that did make deals with the U.S. made many more concessions. But bottom line is, there are issues happening in India, such as unemployment, for example, that have put a lot of pressure on Modi. And Bihar is one of the poorest states in India. Unemployment is a major issue. So being able to win this election despite that significant obstacle, that'll definitely be something for the BJP to have to focus on. If it does prevail, that'll be a big achievement for the BJP in that regard.
Do you expect unemployment to, tip it over for Modi? I mean, his track record hasn't been good. And as you said, this is, the poorest state out there, and it's not looking good.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a number of issues at play in this election. Certainly, jobs is one of them, and we've seen that Modi has announced a series of new welfare measures, particularly those that target women. I believe that women comprise about 50% of the voter base in Bihar, and the BJP is promising to create jobs, but the economy in Bihar is fragile, so it may not be that easy just to suddenly generate so many jobs over in so little time. But clearly, one talks about the identity politics and Hindu nationalism in the BJP agenda. I do think that for the most part, that the issues that are going to really play out and be most resonant in this election, the ones that are going to matter the most, are bread and butter issues when it comes to jobs, concerns about the economy. Those are the issues that have really been very prominent on the campaign trail for BJP.
Amitabh, I want to pick up some of the issues Michael touched upon with you. First, anti-incumbency. Your surveys seem to suggest that whilst there is significant anti-incumbency against local representatives, it isn't playing out in as much measure against the state's chief minister, Nitish Kumar, who, some might say could become chief minister all over again. What's your take on that?
Yeah, because it's often said that Prime Minister Modi enjoys a Teflon coating, but it also applies to Nitish Kumar, who is the Chief Minister of Bihar. Bihar has been one of the states which records the poorest or the lowest per capita income and is very poor on the HDI indicators. But despite that, he has been winning election after election. And despite the fact that he has been changing partners also in some of the elections. So he still continues to be popular. Largely among women and also a section of the EBCs and the non-Yadav OBCs. And the schemes which he has implemented for women, including the improved law and order situation, like the cycle distribution, scholarships for girls, reservations for women in police and other local panchayats, and now this rupees 10,000, you can say a seed capital for encouraging them to start a business. All of this has developed a core vote base of the women folk. He has been able to do that. And the anti-incumbency is largely against the government. When I say government includes the chief minister, but it also includes the other ministers, the bureaucracy, officials, and the MLAs. So there seems to be some
Amitabh,
anger.
let me ask you this. Let me interrupt and ask you this. If there is, if they believe they have a strong chance, the BJP and Nitish Kumar's party, then why this significant giveaway through freebies? Do you see that as desperation or just simply insurance to make sure that they return to power?
No, see, the level of anti-incumbency, if you see our trackers at VoteVibe, was very high. It continues to remain high at 48%. People said that the level of anti-incumbency is high or there is strong anti-incumbency. Only 18% people or respondents said that the anti-incumbency or there is pro-incumbency, and 22% were neutral in July. So through a series of steps like this rupees 10,000 cash income support, what has happened is that the government has been able to turn some of the people who were saying that they are neutral about the anti-incumbency into pro-incumbency. So now in the last tracker in September, October, the pro-incumbency levels increased to 32% from 18%. So they realized that there was a discontent, perhaps because of agri-distress, unemployment, rural distress, and took these steps to improve their position in the upcoming elections.
So Amitabh, do you think that the BJP, JDU combined will return to power in Bihar, in many ways endorsing Prime Minister Modi's popularity in India, allowing Nitish Kumar to return as chief minister? Is that the most likely scenario at this point, according to you?
So see, yesterday in phase one, the turnout has been one of the highest in Bihar's history. So a number which is keenly awaited is what is the female turnout versus male turnout. The female turnout historically in Bihar after Nitish has come to power is more than 3 to 5% of the male turnout. So if the same trend continues, what we have also seen is that JDU particularly has a very high strike rate in seats where the women outvote men. It ranges from 70% to 90% of the seats. So we'll have to wait for the final figures of the ECI with respect to gender turnout. If the gender turnout is fairly high compared to males, then it is advantage NDA. Otherwise, it is advantage the India bloc or the Mahagathbandhan, because youth, and primarily male youth, because the worker participation rate amongst females is low in Bihar. It is youth which is disenchanted with the government and suffering from unemployment and migration. And the male youth.
Michael, let's get your perspective on the turnout, whether it's youth, whether it's women. What assumptions are you making?
Yeah, I mean, this turnout factor is really significant. As Amitabh said, some of the highest turnout we've seen in Bihar in recent years, and perhaps ever. I mean, the government figure, as I recall, is about 65%. That's significant. And I think that that's something that the opposition might latch on to and say, okay, with so many people worried about poverty, unemployment, that, the high turnout must suggest some type of protest vote against the government and in favor of the opposition. But, those that are in power now may conclude or hope that this is just a case of people coming out enthusiastically to show support for the current government. But yeah, absolutely, there's still things that we need to determine, such as the number of women voters and so on. But basically, at this point, each the governing coalition and the opposition can both point to the high turnout as something that will benefit them. We'll just have to see what happens in the second round of voting next week, and then wait for the results later next week.
I'll go back to Amitabh with this question on, Prashant Kishore, who is the third corner in this challenge. Amitabh, do you think he has the potential opportunity to play kingmaker? Do you think this becomes a muddle of a government? Will it go all the way down to the wire, or will it be a decisive sort of victory for either side?
So if the Jan Swaraj party does well, then it is likely to be a closer election. The worse the Jan Swaraj party or Prashant Kishore does, then it is likely to be a comfortable majority for either of the alliances. See, it's just been 3 years and Bihar is dominated by caste politics. So he does not have a base on which he can add on vote share. Like when he advises political parties, there is already a base of that political party and you add 2%, 3% to enable them to win. So he has, you can say, that set the agenda in terms of raising issues. Some could even argue that he has raised more valid points than the opposition has raised perhaps in Bihar. And he has traction amongst youth and also amongst a large section of migrants. And there is some sort of undercurrent. So one cannot gauge as to whether this is likely to convert into votes or not. On 83 seats in 2020, the victory margin was less than equal to 5%. So if he gets anything above 5%, then he is likely to spoil the prospects of either the NDA or the India bloc. So he's likely to more play the role of a spoiler in this election. Some of the tactical mistakes I think perhaps committed is that he did not himself contest the elections. And we have not seen a manifesto from Jan Swaraj party, which is very, very intriguing.
Sure.
Okay. Michael,
one quick last question, Amitabh. Oh, Has.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just had this quick last question, Has. Michael pointed out the big other state elections next year. And my question to Amitabh was simply that, what happens in Bihar? Will that have any bearing on West Bengal or Tamil Nadu or Kerala? Because those are very strong opposition party-led states.
Yeah, so those are very strong opposition party-led states. And I don't think in terms of bearing, it might have any bearing, apart from the fact that, of course, it would motivate or energize the cadre of the BJP or the NDA to do well in some states like West Bengal and Tamil Nadu, where it has entered into an alliance with AIADMK.